My name's Simon. I work at Facebook here in Europe. And welcome to the last and 12th Facebook World Hack. Before we get into the technical talks, and we're going to have lots of code on screen today, very little PowerPoint, very little keynote, lots of code. But I did want to explain a couple of things. And the first is this. What is the Facebook platform for? Why are you here? Why should you care about the Facebook platform? To understand that, you have to understand this. This is a map. It's a map that we generated 2 years ago. So this is slightly out of date. This is 2 years old. But this is a map of 10 million friend connections. Just 10 million. The reason you should care about Facebook as a platform is because we have 955 million monthly users all over the world. Not only that, but we have over 500 million of them every day. Not only that, but Facebook is not just a website. Facebook is a social platform on every device. iPhone, Android, and mobile web. We have over 500 million monthly mobile users. So the reason why you should care about Facebook is because it's the platform on which to build apps that reach the entire world. And there's companies that understand that. There's 9 million apps and websites integrated with the Facebook platform. So today, our job is to make that 9 million and a few more. What does it mean for users, and what does it mean for developers? It's really simple. The reason why there's 9 million apps and websites integrated with Facebook is because they understand this. Here's your app on any platform. If you integrate Facebook into your app, you make it really easy for your users to share what they're doing. And they're sharing stories. They're sharing that they like this, that they rate it, that they've watched it, that they've run something, that they've cooked something. And by sharing stories to Facebook, the activity in your app reaches that user's friends. And for developers, this is the key point. By integrating with Facebook, we drive you traffic. Facebook is the platform to grow your apps worldwide. And it's not just about the web. We launched the first version of Facebook platform 5 years ago. And it was about building apps inside Facebook.com. But the world has changed. We want to be the social layer for apps on every platform. So you can build an app inside Facebook.com. You could integrate it with your website or your mobile web app. But you can also integrate Facebook into your iOS apps and your Android apps. And Facebook will grow your app on every platform. So let's look at a quick example of how this works. This is Endomondo. As I use Endomondo, it's tracking my activity. So this is a cycle ride I went on a few months ago. It was long and hard. But the fact I did it is a story. It's something I wanted to share. Endomondo is social by design. Not only does it track my route, but I can see what my friends are doing in Endomondo. And that makes me exercise more. Probably need to do a bit more than I do. But they've gone one step further. This would be good. But without the next bit, it would just remain in Endomondo. Endomondo is integrated with Facebook with this button. Add workouts to timeline. And because of that, my workouts in Endomondo appear in Facebook. And this is not an image. This is a real map. Endomondo published my distance, my time, my speed, and my actual route. It not only works on the web, it works on mobile too. Mobile web, iOS, and Android. So what's cool about this is I just used Endomondo's iPhone app. And my friends now know about this run. If they click on this, on iOS or the web, they're going to get to Endomondo's app, on the web or on mobile. And the cool thing about this is I used Endomondo on my iPhone. One of my friends clicked on the story on the web or on Android, and they discover Endomondo. They're either a new user, right? That's a new person that Facebook drove to Endomondo. Or they're an existing user who's come back more often. If you do this, the next time you go for a run, you're likely to use Endomondo. The cool thing about this is if the user doesn't have Endomondo's iPhone app installed, we send them to the App Store to download it. So Endomondo got a brand new iPhone user because of Facebook. And because Endomondo is social by design, we list them in Facebook's App Center. App Center is a way of discovering social apps on every platform. On the iPhone, we list the iPhone apps your friends are using. On the desktop, we list the desktop apps your friends are using. So you can discover Endomondo on any of these platforms. Even on the desktop web. For mobile developers, there's one killer feature. Send to mobile. If I click Send to mobile, Facebook's going to send me a push notification on my device. I swipe. That's what I see. If I click that, I'm going to get Endomondo in the Apple App Store to download it. That works on iOS and Android. In the last 30 days, people did that 150 million times. So by integrating with Facebook, we are the platform that can grow your app across the world. You can reach millions of people using Facebook. So, this is the important thing to remember today. When you're building hacks and you're building apps, for your users, the integration with Facebook is about sharing stories. It's about helping them tell their story, like my big run, the films I like, the places I'm going. But for you guys, for developers, it's a global growth machine. So what does it mean to be a Facebook developer? Does it mean Facebook apps? No, it doesn't mean Facebook apps. If you think of a Facebook app, you might think of something built inside Facebook.com. It's not just about Facebook apps. It's about building Facebook into your app on every platform. It's about building apps with Facebook. That's what it's about. And there are three things that developers build with Facebook. Three things that developers do. The first thing is they build, and that's what we're going to do today. We're going to spend time using our SDKs, our APIs, and integrating with Facebook at a code level. But Facebook developers do two other things too. They use Facebook to distribute their apps in App Center and through something called deep linking that we'll talk about later today. And the last thing they do is they promote their apps. You can do Endomondo's integration, and we're going to teach you how to do that today. And that gets you free growth. But if you want to accelerate that growth, if you want it to grow faster, or you want to reach particular users of a particular type in a particular country, then you can use Facebook to promote your app. And you can now buy ads in Facebook's iOS app that drive distribution to your app in Apple's App Store. So, this is what the platform looks like. Here it is. There's lots of bits to it, so I wanted to put this up here so you can just understand how they fit together. Up the top, we have your application. Endomondo, SoundCloud, 500 Pixels, Deezer, your application, on several platforms. If you build for iOS, we have an SDK. Android, we have an SDK. Tom is going to talk you through both of these later today. If you build for the web, we have JS and PHP SDKs, and we list a bunch of SDKs for Node, Ruby, Python as well. But down here is where the action is. Over here, you have two very simple parts of the platform, plugins. And we're not going to spend too much time on these today. We'll talk a little bit about dialogues, especially the feed dialogue. That's a way for a user to share something really simply. Down the bottom here, you have the bits of Facebook's platform that you're trying to connect with when you use our API. So you have places, events, photos, friends. You even have APIs for taking payments on the mobile web and buying and managing ads. But the three bits we're going to spend most time on today is the Graph API, and then authentication and permissions, which is how you connect your users with Facebook, and then finally, Open Graph. Open Graph is a way of publishing structured data to Facebook. Open Graph is how Endomondo publish a map, not an image. It's how Deezer publish a song, not a link. So these are the bits we're going to spend most of the time on today. Can I jump over to the demo laptop, please? So this is a tool called the Graph API Explorer. There is nothing clever about this. This is a JavaScript front end on top of our JSON API. So this talks JSON-P to our servers. So there's nothing clever here. This is just a handy way to get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is put in my Facebook user ID. If I put in number 4, then we get someone else. So what can I do with this? Well, right now, not a lot. This is all the data I get back. My name, first name, last name. And this is because there's... Oh, hello. Just going to refresh that. Yeah. And that's because there is no access token. We don't have a key to the API. So let's get one. I'm going to come back to these permissions in a minute. Click Get Access Token. And this is the most important piece of platform, the authentication dialog. This works on the web, mobile web, iOS, and Android. It's the gateway to platform. So I'm going to click Login with Facebook. And you'll notice behind, we now have an access token. So now let's make the same request again and see what happens. We've got a little bit more data. But now we can start doing really interesting stuff. We can get my friends. We can get some more information about one of my friends. Here's Connor, who you'll meet later. Say hello, Connor. He's waving. And we can also get a ton of other information as well. We can also query this with my username, but now because we have an access token, we can query this under /me. So, if you've used this before, awesome. But in the last 3 weeks, we've added a bunch of new stuff, which I'm going to show you now. If you're a mobile developer, this is particularly useful. One of the pains about being a mobile developer is you need to minimize the number of HTTP requests you make over the network. So we've added ways to query much more data in a single request. So the first thing we're going to do is get more information about me. We're going to get my gender. We're going to get my name, first name. So let's just get that request. There we go, just what I asked for. But now we can also ask for my friends. This query is going to take a little longer, but now it's getting back information about me and my friends. But what if we want to do a bit more than this? Maybe we'll just want to show what their profile picture is. Well, now we can go in and get their picture. So let's run that query. Again, this is going to take a bit longer because it's going to get more data. But now we have me, we have my friends, and we have a picture for every single one of those. And we could go further. We could start asking for things like gender. We can even ask for a particular type of picture. Run that again. There we go, there's a small picture. Very, very small picture on a massive screen. So, that's a great way to query more information. So what are these permissions all about? So the first thing I'm going to do now is ask for my likes. So we can do that here. Let's run that query. Nothing. Where's the data? And that's because we haven't asked permission to access that data. So let's go back and ask for permission. There are about 65 permissions that you need, that we have, sorry. They're in 3 groups: user, which is all about me; friends, all about my friends; and then extended permissions, which is all about extra access. So, for example, being able to read my mailbox, being able to create events, being able to manage my friends lists, Also being able to manage notifications, publish check-ins, a bunch of extra stuff. So let's go back to my user permissions. We're going to ask for user likes. So now we have to pass the user through the authentication flow again. We could have asked for these the first time, but we didn't, so we have to ask for them one more time. If I click Allow, you'll notice the access token hasn't changed. We've just changed the permissions granted to that token. So now we're going to be able to get all my likes. We could also even get the like count for each of the things I like. So you can see that you can start building up really expressive big queries. They may take a long time to run, but it minimizes the amount you have to do over the network. We can also publish from this as well. If I publish to me/feed and add a message, it's going to give me an error in an annoying place. There we go. And that's because I need permission to publish. And one of the permissions that you guys are going to need today is publish actions. Publish actions is the permission you use to publish to someone's wall or timeline and to publish structured data like Endomondo do. If we ask for that permission, we're going to see a new version of the authentication dialog with this bit. This app may post on your behalf. So let's ask for that permission. Let's publish. And then I can go to facebook.com, over to my timeline, and there is the story. So we're going to spend a lot of time today publishing awesome structured content to Facebook. Not that, which is pretty easy. We're going to publish some pretty cool stuff. So that's what we're going to spend most of our time on today. So these are the official SDKs that Facebook builds and supports. But we also list on our website SDKs for Java, Node, Ruby, C#, and Python, and more. So that's it. I didn't want to talk too much non-technical stuff. And we are so excited to be with you here today. And thank you for spending the time with us.